Good afternoon, everybody. Thanks so much for being here. So we are gearing up for our second year of 420 during the COVID-19 pandemic. And as you all know, 420 is the day for cannabis retailers with opportunities to maximize revenue, build your customer base, and drive customer loyalty. Getting the maximum benefit out of this holiday requires thoughtful preparation of both your inventory planning and how you're going to move that product once you have it in stock. So the goal of today's workshop is to teach you how to think about your inventory and upselling strategies for the biggest sales day of the year. We'll show you what data to review to make sure you have the right product mix in the lead up to 420, how buyers should use data to stock their shelves, and we'll review some upselling best practices to ensure your sales team is ready to move product while delighting customers. So let's get into it. Today, we're so pleased to welcome Wally Wong. He's on our Meadow SoCal sales team. He also leads our education and social equity programming. Wally is passionate about cannabis, equity, and helping our dispensary partners navigate retail compliance so they can sell more weed and take care of their customers and their teams. We're also so pleased to welcome Sarah Batesh, the senior consultant at Batesh Buying Group, formerly the head buyer of MedMen. She specializes in cannabis buying and planning and is skilled in trend analysis, sales, product assortment planning, management, and vendor relationships. Sarah utilizes her deep product knowledge to determine which products may be avoided in the market and to identify future trends and apply learnings to improve upon existing products. Welcome, Sarah. Finally, we have Natalie Joe-Gay. She is a retail expert and an experienced business development consultant with demonstrated success in health and wellness, fashion, and retail industries. Natalie is skilled in multi-store operations, management, new store openings with an emphasis in recruitment, talent management, and customer experience. So Wally, I'll pass the mic to you.
Great. Hi, everyone. Thanks so much for being here. My name's Wally, and I'm head of Meadow's educational programming. I'm based out of here in Los Angeles. For those who don't know us, and I see you, Nikki. Thanks for making time to come out, Nikki. For those who don't know us, since 2014, Meadow has built the only California-specific cannabis POS, delivery, e-commerce, CRM, and marketing software that is on the market. It's designed for speed, volume, and profitability. Our all-in-one platform has the tools you need to run and scale your business while saving time, increasing revenue, which we're going to be talking about today. 420 is 14 days away, and growing and marketing to your customer base while staying compliant on each and every inventory transaction. On Meadow, your tax records will always be accurate and your data is always so secure. With Meadow, you can sell in-store, online, as well as execute pickup and delivery orders all inside Meadow without any third-party integrations. We integrate with Weedmaps, Leafly, as well as QuickBooks, and you're even able to use Google Tag Manager to track real-time dynamic engagement on your website using our Meadow e-commerce menu. With Meadow, you retain all your customer data access across your sales channels, which is so important. We're going to get into that about what it means in terms of having a CRM, data efficacy, and being able to quickly pivot out and execute marketing campaigns. You can launch these targeted texting campaigns on our new native text marketing functionality that's built directly into Meadow. It's a powerful new way for dispensary teams to communicate directly with your most loyal and engaged customers. And as of 2 weeks ago, we even flagged. We flag keywords inside Meadow text marketing. So those keywords you're not supposed to be using in terms of cannabis text marketing, we'll flag it and let you know that that's not some language you want to use. You're even able to create zip code specific customer groups and send regional promo campaigns. That's for all my delivery operators in the room. We're the fastest and most complete and easy to use system in California, and I can say with confidence that all the teams that run Meadow operate at a higher level of compliance. Here's some of our happy Meadow customers. Our Meadow customers range from small mom and pop shops to some of the biggest dispensaries and delivery services in the state. We work hand in hand with our customers, incorporating their feedback from real world issues to create solutions and workflows to help them be more efficient. We pride ourselves on creating happy partners and offering ongoing support and educational resources like today's workshop because we truly care about this industry and want to see you thrive. So shout out to all the current and future Meadow partners in the room today. So before we get into the discussion, I wanted to give a quick sneak peek of a new super powerful tool we recently called Premium Inventory Analytics, which we're going to be talking about today. It's a buyer and sales team's best friend. It's true retail forecasting designed to save you time and actually make you money. Meadow can now forecast inventory demand and show you what you need to be ordered and when. You can also see which products need to be moved through with sales and promos, your best sellers, how many days of inventory you have on hand. It'll become the tool your buyers can't live without. And we're releasing it in time on the run up to 420, so you can make sure you have the optimal product mix to meet demand. So today we have a very rare opportunity to speak to two super powered experts in retail. And I couldn't be more excited. I can call you both friends. We're all based in LA, the largest recreational cannabis market in the world. And we're talking with Sarah and Natalie, and we're really going to be engaging how inventory buyers inform the front of the house sales team and vice versa in preparation for a big sales day like 420. So, Sarah, you're in the thick of it. You are busy, dear. You have no time right now. What are you doing? Tell us your past 4 weeks. I want to hear it all, what it's looking like, what it's been like in the run up. Like, take us back. When do you start prepping for this?
So prep for 420 starts in February usually. Reaching out to the vendors and kind of asking them, we're coming off of the holiday. We know what items we need to kind of sell through, what items we need to reorder. There's lots of deals out there. Everybody wants to give you everything for a penny. They want to come in and do a demo, and all great, but it's operationally, you need to just narrow it down because it gets really confusing to the customer and to the people that are working in the stores that actually have to execute your strategies. So usually just stick with 2 to 3 strategies, whether it's price point oriented or we have something that is a BOGO, for instance, or we have demos. We kind of keep everything in that, and we also use it as an opportunity to sell through underperforming inventory. So this is an opportunity to be like, hey guys, you sold me this really weird flavored cookie and no one's buying it, so can you help me? And then they usually you can talk to the vendor where they can credit you back, so you can use that towards a future order, or maybe they'll come back. You can mark down that product to get it moving out. So it's a good way. It's a good time to do a sweep to see what you have in your inventory that's upcoming, that's underperforming, what you have in your inventory that is expiring soon. We don't sell expired goods, but we want to make sure that we give it the proper life cycle. And then it's also a great opportunity to get really great deals for your customers. And excuse me. And the only thing I don't do on 420 is I don't do new brands because
that's really interesting.
I just there's no time to do the whole onboarding process and really understand that. So I usually steer away from that unless it's a brand that that is, there's other deals going on around it that I'm here to support other departments so they can have their goals fulfilled as well. But I just recently learned if it's in the month of February and it's a new brand, that makes sense. But in the month of April, I'm not onboarding any new brands. We'll talk in May.
Can you speak can you speak to the old stock versus new stock here? I mean, when you're talking about getting rid of what you had and then you're stocking, you're looking forward ahead, is that on the same call when you're talking to your distributors and you're doing the buys? Is that a negotiation point in terms of look, we have all this old stock of you sold us before and now we're pivot, how can you, basically compensate as we go ahead and we stock up for 420?
Yep. So I would use Meadow or another program that I'm a consultant, so I work with multiple programs with multiple dispensaries. So I would use something like Meadow. I would download a report before my meeting. I would prepare before that because I already know what I want to say. And you can turn a 1-hour meeting into a 20-minute meeting if you just prep the reports beforehand. So you can pull the reports like before, like all the brands that you're going to be talking to that day, or all the distributors and the brands associated with them. And you just run through, like, you're just like, hey, like these 4 flavors aren't selling well. I need to get rid of them. I own X amount of units. It's going to cost me X amount of dollars to mark it down. I need the support from you. And hopefully the vendor or the brand will partner and hold hands with you and do that. And if they don't, then, you know, it is what it is, and you take the markdown and you move on. But like most brands these days, it's a very competitive landscape. So everybody's willing to work as a team and help you move through those products. So maybe it's a BOGO. Hey, we have 200 units. We usually have like traffic of like, 800 people today, and X% usually purchase edibles. So like, how can we market it towards those edibles people? And maybe it's like buy something of that brand and receive this underperforming inventory at a penny or 50% off. So you're not getting 2 of the same items that are maybe not as popular. But it then just becomes like, hey, you're already buying like your chocolate chip cookie, so like let's throw on this like chocolate fudge cookie for a penny for you. And to the consumer, they just get a free bag of something, and to us, we're able to really move through the inventory and make room for new things that are coming in.
I love that. So Nat, let's talk. So 420 is Christmas and spring for us in cannabis. Take us back when you're talking about seasonal hires, right? And when you're thinking about a seasonal role, or you're prepping a retail store for a seasonal rush, how do you build the winning sales team? Like, how do you onboard for the season, but also you're bringing on experience that's actually going to move the needle to all this work that Sarah's doing? Like, how do you build that winning sales team?
Yeah, I think there's many different components to that, and definitely it's preparing in advance. So as Sarah said, she starts thinking about this in February. I think same with staffing. It takes some time to find the right people. So you want to give yourself plenty of time to staff up and just make sure that you are attracting the right talent, which could be a whole other webinar on its own. But I would say hiring people that are passionate about the industry, and then also product knowledge. So once you are onboarding them, product knowledge is so important, because you don't want to have people out on the sales floor that don't know what they're talking about, because it's about building trust with customers. It's about, I know when I walk into a dispensary, I want to tell the person that's helping me what my needs are, what I like, what I don't like. And I want them to listen so they can suggest their products that for me, and that way it's not them suggesting random products that I won't use. So it all goes hand in hand, but I think product knowledge is key. Especially because they're seasonal. So it's different for your permanent employees, which they should know that everything you sell through and through, but definitely the seasonal people, you want them prepared for this day.
How do you, and can you speak to that? And like, I always say to new teams, like that are looking for the craziest technology that's going to get them to get the biggest customer retention and the biggest marketing. And I always say that money is so much better spent in your front of the house staff, specifically for dispensaries, but for delivery operators too, who are taking orders over their phone, in terms of upselling. These people are on the front lines, and they're the ones that actually move the needle, increasing cart size. How do we get, like, in terms of training, in terms of product knowledge, is this just full on, we're going back to like my waiting and bartending days, where like, we're going to do the menu quiz, or is there a way to gamify it and make it more fun for the employees?
Yeah, I mean, everyone learns differently. So I think you got to meet your audience where they're at. And I'd say the same is true with a team that you're training. So I think you have to throw in different elements. Don't just hand them a bunch of papers that it's just written out in paragraphs. That doesn't work for everyone. I think visual trainings are important. I think if you can have somebody, a vendor, come and present to your team, that's also, I don't know if that's something exactly that you can do in cannabis, but I would assume a vendor could come out and say, this is our product line. I'm the expert. Let me tell you about it. I think having that interaction, I mean, even if it's virtual, having that expert train them, and then also having them engage with the product. So, you know, show them where it is at on the floor, on the sales floor. Have them learn to read the marketing on the boxes in case in the moment they don't remember that exact, because they're not going to memorize everything, but show them what all their resources are so that they can use it in the moment when they're interacting with the customer.
And then to everyone that's in the room, feel free to shoot some questions into the chat and we'll ask them as we go along, or you can if we have the Q&A, you can shoot them and we'll answer them as you go along. Take advantage of this, everyone that's in the room. We have a small group, but take advantage of having these two people on. Sarah, can you speak to how much are you looking to stock for 420? Is it stock too much and be happy that you didn't sell out, or stock, you see what I'm saying? Or
yeah,
stock.
It depends on the size of the store and like the capacity of your backspace. Like a lot of my like one of my shops that I work with, it's one store and their back room is the size of like your average bedroom, so it's not fitting like a lot of inventory. I rather not have extra inventory. So I do the math and I go back and look. I use my analytics, whether it's with Meadow or with yeah, exactly, or with any other one that the dispensaries are using. But I would use that, look back a couple of weeks, see like what my average like sales are in those categories and in those things that I'm focusing on and that I'm bringing in promotional items to support. And then I go with, hey, like, let's try, like, we sell X amount of units in this amount of time. This is just a one-day thing. However, actually most of my clients are doing it through the weekend beforehand. So it's starting like Friday and like just leading up to the promotion. So people don't get, you can get a good deal. You don't have to go on Tuesday is our point. So just, you have to do the math and figure out how much you sell through. And then I just do like, combine my math with what the vendor can provide, and then the term while supplies last, and that's it. Because I'd rather not have extra stuff in the back because of expiration dates, because of space, etc. If we want to run another promotion or another like a demo or something where we would use that product, like that would be the time where I would go after the fact and download a report to see like what I still own after 420, and then I would create like a plan to use that inventory, whether it would be for some staff sampling for being such great staff members during 420 if I didn't already plan to like reward them in that matter, or I would use that inventory for another promotion. But long story short is I buy very tight and to the point and to the need, because you just get caught with like all this extra inventory and you don't really need it every time. So it really just depends. Like if the vendor's like, we want to give you 200 units, I'm not going to be like, well, I only want 22. I might say like, okay, let's settle in the middle, do 100 and save the other 100 for promotion 2 months from now or 2 weeks from now. Because also we have to think about during 420, we have to think about bounce back opportunities, because now everybody is loading up. They're buying a lot more than they normally would. They're receiving a lot of promotional products, so they're going to be good on their stock, on their personal stock for a few weeks. So you always see the sales like go up 420 and then dive back down and then come back around in like May. So our second week of May. So we try to capture those like 2 weeks after 420 to like bring people back sooner than they would. So with that, we do like bounce back coupons where it's like, hey, like, thanks for purchasing this. I'm just going to stick with cookies examples. Thanks for purchasing this like chocolate chip cookie. Come back and like get it again in 2 weeks for, we'll have promotional units then too. If you come back, you'll get another one in 2 weeks. Like something to like be able to bring them back to your store, because also in 420, the customer usually bounces around to a few dispensaries.
Yeah.
So yeah, so they can get optimize their deals. So just give them a reason to come back. So the bounce back thing and partnering with vendors is usually how I do that.
And I want this, yes. Okay, I had to write down my list of little questions. But I do want to talk because I love that you engaged in retention. And that is something that I think is thankfully, is becoming more and more for the new retailers, for the existing operators. It's gone from acquisition, the game of like pay to play, for the weed maps, to where we're really starting to engage in like real retail best practices in terms of customer retention. So Natalie, I turn to you regarding a client book of clienteling, and like I know you have really like you appreciate what that is, like what that relationship is at the sales counter and what that means for the sales staff, and once again for the delivery operators in the room. This I know for a fact. I know delivery teams that are run by 3 or 4 people, but they actually get on the call or they get into a chat with and they're able to upsell and know their customers and have a book on their individual customers and use their buying habits to upsell. So can you talk about that? Because I don't think I think there's some sophisticated bud tenders out there, but not all of them appreciate how powerful that is in terms of clienteling.
Yeah, I would say clienteling is about building relationships. So even if it's a person that's just visiting and you'll never see them again, in the few moments you have with them, you want to be the friend that they didn't bring with them. And you also want to be the expert that is listening to them and then providing suggestions. People don't want to waste their time. They want to be in and out of there, get everything they need, even some things they didn't even know that they needed. And it's up to anyone that is in sales, it's up to them to kind of know the psychology about just human nature and know that people don't want to be sold to, but they want connection. And it's about anticipating needs, listening, and just asking open-ended questions. And once they trust you, they're going to want to come back to you. And, even in my neighborhood, I have one dispensary that I go to often, but there's like 12 others really close by. But I choose to go to this one because of the experience I get. And I rave to everyone about
Elevate
it.
on Third. I know you're talking about Elevate on Third. I just
Exactly.
Elevate dispensary on 3rd Street. Loyal Meadow customer. I know it's that one.
It might be. But that being said, and just think about your own experience. Anywhere you go, you want to have connection with people, especially in this crazy world we're in right now. Those few moments of interaction, and when they're genuine, it keeps you coming back. So I think it's about, and that's why I brought up product knowledge before. It's like if your team already knows the information, the interaction is going to be genuine and engaging, and that customer is going to leave and tell about their experience to 5 more people, and it's going to create more customers. And it's better than any marketing that you'll ever do. It's just having those genuine interactions.
And I know Aria wrote down that bring the friend. Wait, the salesperson is a friend. I'm writing that down. Everybody should write that.
Be the friend that they didn't bring. Somebody told me that years ago in retail, and I've always used it.
I'm going to tell that to my special person in my life. I'm the friend. I want to be the friend you didn't bring to all your. Okay, so Sarah, the last time we did one of these with Jem, you taught, and this is what I think so different right now. I'm here when we did it with Jem, and we weren't talking like in terms of the seasonality of it. You were talking about so much about like just general stocking, experimenting. I love that you guys were talking so much about experimenting in your stock. But now what I'm hearing from you is so much more alignment with front of house. Like you weren't talking as much about doing promo codes and doing like BOGOs. You were talking about just general stocking, relationship with distributors. Is there more, are you in this moment, are you directly informing front of house sales staff? Like, is this how it's going in terms of what the promotions, what the discount structures look like?
Yeah, so we build like a flow of communication so they understand like what's actually happening, and they feel involved. So some of my clients work like in like a decentralized manner where like the general manager is purchasing, and then other clients like I'm doing the overall purchasing for them, and we have like people that are executing like my strategies. So it really just depends on the strategy of that store, but every store needs to have communication down to the sales team, because there doesn't matter how much you bought, if they can't execute any of it because they don't know that it's there, or they don't know the promotion, then like, what are we doing here? So like, just close the store down, start over, start a new holiday called 421 because you just lost. So like, so I think like it's very important to trickle that down. And like at larger corporations, like when I was at MedMen, we had a communication team that would like trickle down those, like I would provide that information for the comms team. They would put it in, verbiage that for the store language that they're used to, and then, but that would be done like 6 weeks in advance, like kind of situation. So with stores that are running a smaller operation, still all the same details and all the same amount of work goes into it. You're just talking about, 2 or 3 stores or 1 store instead of 10 or 12. So we develop a communication through that team. So it's very important that we talk to people like Natalie in the front of house and like let them know, like, hey, these are like the 5 promotions that are happening. These are the 15 promotions that are happening. This is the inventory you're going to get that's going to support these promotions. Do you have any questions? This is what you scan. Like one of my stores, for instance, is doing gift bags, which I know is very popular. So it has like 8 SKUs in it that are cannabis, and everything else is like non-cannabis. So it's okay to put in the bag. Like swag items. And I was on the phone with her yesterday and with one of the person that's coordinating it, and I was placing the orders for her. And I was like, are all the bags gonna be different? Are they gonna be color coded? Like, what's the deal? She's like, no, they're gonna be different. They're gonna have to like open the bag and like scan them. And I was like, so why don't you have 3 different versions of this bag and then create a sheet that's gonna have all the barcodes on it? So then they just pull the sheet and scan it. And she was like, oh my God, that's a great idea. And like, you never even think about these things, but like these things help people like Natalie's teams like actually like execute what you're trying to do, and not especially now in like the times where you can't have that many people in the store, this gets people like out faster. Like, can you imagine them just like emptying like a tote bag and then finding the pre-roll and then scanning it? Like, no, that'll take like 20 minutes per person. So we narrowed it down. Let's create like 3 different types of bags and have set SKU lists that they can scan. So yeah, all of that comes down to operational and communication towards like the front of house.
And then for everyone in the room that don't understand the significance of what Sarah said regarding the SKUs and stuff, what she's suggesting is really smart, because it's all about the compliance portion of being able to scan out from the appropriate packages and put together to scan out and make sure you're doing reporting on each instead of searching around and putting it. That's a really great note. Also, you all should write that one down. Natalie, though, so Sarah comes to you, has all the promotions. You've got whole front of house sales team. How do we incentivize? How do we gamify it? How cheesy does it get? Are we talking about hourly, quarterly, shiftly? Like, how do we get them to be involved with this and actually take ownership of the promotions themselves?
Yeah, so I'm glad Sarah brought up all of those points, because the last thing you want is your sales team being confused or having there be chaos, because that totally kills the customer experience. So you have to communicate what's going on to your sales team, so they know, they're very clear on what's happening. I mean, I've seen this happen on Black Friday for retail teams, where if you make it hard for your employees to even just ring up a customer, it's just, you're losing that customer right there. But in addition to that, I think when you are sitting on a lot of units of something, if you tell your team and you incentivize them around selling those units, it's obviously win-win, because you're going to go through those units on that day. But also teams love a good incentive, and you can get really creative with it. So it just depends on what motivates your team. And maybe that is something I love is let them do their own schedule. Like your top salesperson, they get to do their own schedule for the next 2 weeks. Or maybe it's they get to get a Starbucks card. I mean, people love that. Or maybe it's just something that, like, you have to really get to know your team in order to know what's going to motivate them. But maybe it's giving them a day off of their choice paid during the month of May, or a slower month that you might experience after the big holiday. So get creative with it, and actually it might not even cost you anything as an employer. Just find out what it is that's going to motivate them. But definitely do it, create the incentives around what you're sitting on a lot of units for, because then that will be top of mind for them when they are suggesting to these customers.
Awesome. I love it. The schedule, let them make their own schedule. That'll go off. That'll go off famously. I can see that. So Lau, let's pivot out and talk about how much of the e-commerce, how much of that is informing in terms of, because of the times we're in right now, in terms of where pickup and delivery. Sarah, is that informing like what they're showing on Weed Maps, what they're showing on their e-commerce menu? Is that informing it? Are you clocking that conversion of product specifically through the e-commerce portion and stocking accordingly around that, whether it be delivery only or a retail with a delivery portion?
So like, I really haven't gotten into those analytics for the delivery because it's kind of messy, and I prefer to wait until somebody else cleans it up and then I'll go look at it.
I love it.
I'm just like tired and like have been doing that like for years, and that's just someone else's turn. So but in terms of like for my clients that like use and like I think my biggest struggle is just that like the delivery platforms are not the same as their POS platforms. So
Except for Meadow.
Except for Meadow, right? So that's been kind of an issue for me, and that's why I don't connect the dots, because I have to look at it separately and create my own reporting. However, it is important because in the landscape that we are in now, we do have a lot of curbside and delivery pickups. I think that I still look at it as a total. I don't look at it as like, this is what we sold on delivery and this is what we sold in the store. I just go, this is what we sold total company and this is how much inventory we need. Now, if it's two different locations, like I do have clients that have a delivery location and they have a retail location in the same city, but they're still they're separate entities and they're separate locations. That's when you're going to want to look into that stuff, because it's going to two different locations. And as we all know, once the cannabis lands, it's not going nowhere. It stays there. I mean, it'll go in the customer's digestive system, but that's about it. And so it's not going anywhere else. So you want to be like as tight and buttoned up in your ordering for that. But in terms, that's actually like that's like my next step. I think the next phase is to like start deep diving into the delivery aspect. It's just like a completely different model. So like it's hard to like see it as one story, but it is something I look at, I guess I can say.
Yeah, and I can inform that in terms of what we see, like in terms of, so what we've seen since the beginning of the pandemic is like an over 200% increase of inbound orders off the Meadow menu, which blew us away immediately. We're like, this is crazy. We're thinking it sticks to the wall in terms of changing the consumer environment. But if we're talking for retail footprint, overall, you're basically seeing a good rule of thumb is if we're dealing with an average cart size inside a retail store of like anywhere from $80, you're going to see about a third to a quarter increase in the delivery. So you're going to see an overall average cart size for delivery orders anywhere from 120 all the way up, 120, 130. And then for, but we do discuss it in terms for retailers that add on delivery. We do discuss it in terms of like, and that's what I was going to talk to you, Natalie, about next is, we really view delivery for retail brick and mortars as an extension of the in-store experience, right? Like you're trying to get them, ultimately you're trying to get them back into the store, knowing that you have the sales staff that can engage, back to the retention part of the, but we look at that like 2 to 3 mile radius, what can you do? And I know where you're at currently, you guys have really engaged on social media channels as a true sales. We can't do that completely in cannabis, but can you speak to like non-traditional sales, like selling over the phone? That is super, super common in cannabis. People still sell over the phone. You have to call, be like, I'm out of that. but here's what we upsell, and like utilizing that, or chats directly through the website, upselling through that. We have plenty of operators that have chat functionality, and the difference of that, because I know that's like for the last year, you were so engaged on that, and that I found that really fascinating.
Yeah, I mean, it's customer experience. So I think if you don't have separate team for just having them focus on chat and online orders, if it's the same team, you kind of want to, they're trained the same way. It's just how they engage on chat or phone is, you have to realize like someone's not standing in front of you. So you have to make sure they have some templates to sort of work from, especially if it's on chat. But don't just copy and paste the templates, personalize it for the person that's asking you the questions. And then as far as phone goes, I think it's just also making sure that, sorry, there's a loud truck driving by, making sure that you are asking questions. Ask them why, if they are saying that they just want, some sort of indica to help them sleep at night. Well, what kind of product do you like? Have you tried edibles? Do you like, do you prefer flower? That's asking them the questions so that you can provide the right response. And because if you just start responding with just random facts, you're going to lose them. So it's like people are calling or doing it online because they are short on time. They don't have time to come down there. So you want to be as efficient as possible while providing the best service, and then suggesting additional items, maybe something they haven't thought of. Oh, do you want to add a pre-roll with that? Or do you need a grinder? Whatever it might be, so that you can upsell in that small window of opportunity that you do have. I think is the best way. And then I always think that, and this is just me guessing, but I go into a place the first time, and then after I know the products I like, I can just order online or over the phone, because you've already been there. You've had that first great experience. So then it's just keeping them coming to you and not to the other place down the street.
Yeah, back to the retention. Where you brought up those, which I think I've never thought of when you're talking about those templates, when you were engaged at the last retailer did you guys like have the printouts in front of you as you were engaging, like whether it was the product breakdown or whether it was some version of a template that you were drawing on while you were engaging, specifically when you were engaged like on Instagram, like in the comments, making sales, were you using like templates? Did you have it in front of you?
Yeah. So the funny thing about that, so when I was in customer experience side of the business for e-commerce, you have templates and you use them for a while, and then you eventually have them memorized. So I think the templates are important just for consistency, because you want your customers to receive the same level of experience with all team members that are involved in that process. So the templates are important to sort of start with, and then you eventually can just, your team will eventually memorize it. But you do have a document that you can pull from, especially if it's a chat function. People aren't going to wait very long on chat. So if you are replying, you want to be as quick as possible. And sometimes that is copying and pasting and then personalizing it. So it doesn't sound like a copy and pasted template. But, product knowledge is a separate thing. But I think for this, it's like, if you tend to get the same questions over and over, you want to have some already created responses that just help the process be even faster.
Aria, I hope you're laughing right now, because literally 30 minutes before we started, I asked Aria to help me create one of these for Meadow. Like, we need to create a document and I need to know all that. All right. So we're getting at 40 minutes, at 42, we're at 2:42. We're coming up on the hour. If you have any questions, I'll hold for a little bit for any questions, and throw them in the chat if you have any. But, overall, I wanted to let everyone in the room know, Meadow did just roll out Q4 last year. We just rolled out our segmented targeting, our segmented text messaging. We have the most robust CRM in the industry. We're capturing all your customer data. You're able to send targeted text campaigns to people in specific customer groups, execute promo codes, even to specific brands. You can use how many loyalty points they have. It goes on, and really provide targeted text messaging. And then also, we just roll out our huge analytics package where we're able to show all this velocity, what's selling, what's not, everything that Sarah's doing, and it pivots your buyer into forward thinking intent instead of trying to make sense of all the data. That's really what we're bringing together, and we're really excited about it. So for those of you in the room that are running other systems, for new operators, please reach out to us. I'd love to walk you through, because the system's gone to a place where we're really starting to make money. We're translating all this data into actually dollars saved, because as Sarah knows, it is a margins game. Her whole life is around the margins, and that's what we really take pride in terms of enabling our operators. If we don't have any questions, I mean, we can wrap a little bit early. I love what we covered today. Aria, do you want to come back on and we give a big plug to Natalie and Sarah here? Sarah, I don't know if Sarah even has time to take on more clients before 420. I'm sure she'll take them, but both these teams, front of house, you are looking to staff, reach out to Natalie. Back of the house, you're looking to actually hit the ground running and have some SOPs around your inventory. Reach out to Sarah. There's no reason to try to go it alone. Please do not try to reinvent the wheel. We're just selling weed, folks. We're just selling weed. And there's a lot of, Sarah's a wealth of knowledge into knowing how to sell weed really well. Natalie can teach your team how to upsell. So I'm going to leave it at that if we don't have any questions.
Great. Thanks so much, Wally. Thanks, Natalie. Thanks, Sarah. That was a lot of great information. And before we wrap, I just want to let everybody know we will be doing 2 more webinars this week. We've created the Ultimate 420 Dispensary Guidebook, which is a 28-page resource. We'll be digging into that twice. Starting tomorrow at 4 p.m., we'll be running through it again on Thursday at 10 a.m. You should have received links to register for that. I can drop them in the chat here in a minute. We'll be reviewing how to do smarter marketing for bigger sales, how to plan the right inventory right in time, and creating an omni-channel sales strategy. So all registered guests for that will receive a copy of the guidebook. And I'll go ahead and show everybody's contact info there on screen. So if you have any questions, feel free to reach out to Natalie or Sarah or Wally. And I will drop these links here in the chat for you. If you'd like to join us tomorrow or Thursday, feel free to click on those and open them up. Sarah, Natalie, any last words?
I just want to say thank you. It was wonderful speaking with everyone today, and yeah, look forward to the next one. And happy 420.
Oh, yes. Happy 420. Thanks for including me. Natalie, it was nice to meet you. And everyone else on this call, see you in May.
I love Best of luck to you. Best of luck to you, Sarah.
Thanks, guys.
Red Bulls. If you get a 6-pack of Red Bulls, they're from me.
Oh, thank you.
All right. Thanks, everybody. Happy 420. Take care.
Bye.
Bye.